Have you guys ever seen Not a Rubicon? I kind of feel like him today. I feel like I'm on top of the world. I don't want to mimic him too much because he's a little bit of a jerk, in a good way. So Randy, if you're watching, I apologize for that. KC3QPJ here, and I have a new video today for Dmr SMS texting. Yes, texting from radio to your phone and from your phone back to your radio, and you can do it with any phone number. This is going to be exclusively, only because of my lack of knowledge, it's going to be mainly exclusively for the Anytone line of radios. If you need more information on how to program your code plug to suit your needs for SMS messaging or APRS messaging, please contact Brandmeister or anybody that might be able to help you out in the ham world there, because there's a lot of Elmers out there, and it's not a bad thing to have an Elmer. Anyway, we're not going to make this very long-winded. We're gonna make this as short and sweet as we possibly can. So we're gonna get started right away. I appreciate you guys joining me, and let's get started. So first thing you need to do is log into your Brandmeister account. If you do not have a Brandmeister account, then you are going to want to create one. So make sure that once you have gotten into your Brandmeister account, I'm going to show you what this looks like when you log in. So here we go on my Brandmeister dashboard. Okay, what you're going to want to do is, once you've created your account, you're signed in, you've got your call sign here up in the top right hand corner, just go ahead and click your call sign and come down to self-care. Click on your self-care. Okay, now you're going to see this screen where it says brand, language, English, APRS call sign. Brand for the Anytone is meant to be set at Motorola via the folks down there at Bridgecom University. Bridgecom has their own video on this. I'm going to shorten this by about 20 minutes. Theirs is 45 minutes long. So we're going to get you to get started a little faster. So there are different manufacturers. I believe the Chinese radio is going to be a radio like TYT, Alliance, and possibly a Bree, and some overseas radios that aren't necessarily sold in the United States. So for your Anytone, you're going to select the Motorola. Language, obviously, if you speak English, is going to be English. I've never changed this, guys. So if you guys have this changed, I don't know how it'll affect what you're trying to do. I don't even know anything about how to change this or what it does for you, but maybe I can figure that out and follow up in another video, but that's neither here nor there for this video. Now, as you see, your APRS call sign is a little different here. You have an identifier. Okay, there are 15 identifiers outside of your own call sign. These identifiers basically are showing, it's a code for what method you're using to get into the APRS to send your text. Option 7 is the one for mobile radios or handheld radios, so we're going to choose option 7. You need to have that so that people know how you're getting into the system. Okay, once you've done this step, this was the fastest step, you can go ahead and save this and then log out of your account. So we're going to go ahead and close out of that. And then you're going to want to bring up your software for whatever radio. So I can wait for a second and explain the next step here. Okay, so if you have a pen, you might want to write this down. You need a specific talk group to get into in order to use the SMS texting. That talk group is 310999. Alright, now if you guys have that written down, let's go ahead and move forward here. Alright, now, first step. Now, keep in mind, fellas, when you bring your software up before you program your radio, every time before you make any changes to your code plug, read your radio first. I'm not having to do this with my radio because I've already got mine programmed. So I'm just going to show you Obviously, if you've got a DMR and you've programmed it, here's your read from radio, but you want to make sure that your COM port is selectable so that you can read the radio. Right now I don't have mine plugged in, but when I do, it shows COM port 3. Alright, so once you've read from the radio, you only have to do, you do not have to do digital contacts. Just have to check the other data when it comes up. It'll give you the option of doing both. You do not want to do the digital contacts. It'll take forever. So now go down here to your digital, go down to contact talk groups, scroll down to the last one, and this is the group that you are going to create for using the SMS feature. Okay, now you want this easily identifiable, so when you get into your group messaging, you can use SMS, text, or whatever name you want to name the talk group. Usually they are in alphabetical order, so if they're in alphabetical order, this will be near the bottom of your list. Okay, so just make sure you remember what you name it, because you're going to have to find it and select it again. Call type is going to be private. You got an all call, group call, and private call. Select private call. That number I had you write down 310999. You're going to type that right into your talk group DMR ID. Then your call alert is none, or you can get it to set it to ring. It doesn't matter what you do, you can do it any which way. So once you've done that, you've created the group, you can go ahead and hit OK. I'm going to close out because I had it set up the way I wanted it to. Okay, so once you've created that group, now you have to create the channel. This is going to be user specific as far as how do you want to access this group. Do you want to use your hotspot at home, or do you want to use the local DMR repeater? So what I would suggest is figure out which mode you're going to use, or you can create two channels, one for your hotspot and one for your local repeater. Obviously you want to name this channel something that you can find to identify it. And being on DMR, I would probably just name it the same thing as the group call, my SMS text. So that's what I would name it. Okay. Now, if you know the frequency of your hotspot, most hotspots are simplex. You can run it in duplex mode too, but whatever your frequencies are for your particular hotspot, just go ahead and enter them in here in these fields. Obviously, the digital is going to be your channel type, transmit power. If you're going into your hotspot, I would recommend the low. If you're going into your local repeater, just make sure you know how much it takes to get into your local repeater, but I wouldn't go full turbo if you're real close. Okay. Now you've got all this analog stuff. Doesn't mean anything. You don't need your CTCS tones, and obviously the CTCS tones, most veterans are referring to those as PL tones now. And veterans, I mean veterans of ham radio. The reason why they're called PL tones is that was Motorola's trademarked name for the tones that were sent out for opening squelch on repeaters. The proper term, the CTCSS, is continuous tone coded squelch. Okay, I don't know what the second S is for, but that's neither here nor there. I'm getting off topic. Okay, none of this is necessary. Anyway, so your contact in your digital box, you're going to click the no call, and it's not allowing me to click it. So let's try this again. Alright. Now it let me click it. Find your SMS channel that you created with your name, and mine is in alphabetical order, so here's my SMS text. We're going to select that. You got your radio ID, that's your identifier, color code 1, time slot, you want to change that to time slot 2, and it's very imperative that if you're using a repeater that has a static talk group, the only time you ever want to use time slot 1 on any public repeater is if you know there's no traffic and no net going. Now, especially using SMS data, because if you lock up a repeater by accident using that, there's going to be a lot of very upset people. So use time slot 2. Okay, and then make sure that when you're done using your time slot 2 on your local repeater that you dial out with the 4000 code like they use on DMR radio. Okay, so you've created your channel. Now you have to assign that channel to a zone. So it's up to you how you want to assign that channel to a zone. Okay, so let's click on zone. Now you can either create a zone or choose one of the zones that you already have available to you. Okay, my zones are very short because this radio right now sits in my base station. Okay, so find your channel that you just created, highlight it, hit the arrow key here, that'll assign it to the zone, and then hit OK. So once you find that, you've done all that. You've got the talk group created, you got your channel created, you've assigned your channel to a zone. Go ahead and read to the radio. And that's where it starts to become fun. So once you've created that and got it written to the radio, then you can go ahead and start using the radio. And I'm going to show you how to do this, guys. Now mind you, it can be quirky because when you use this, there's one other thing that you want to do, and I'm so sorry. We're going to back up here for a second. Before you read the radio, and hopefully you guys watch this whole thing before you try to read it to the radio. So let's get into our screen here again. This is a huge recommendation because it's going to annoy you if you have to do this every time. Come down to digital in the drop down, because normally it's compressed like this. You know, even your common setting is mainly the only thing that's ever open. Okay, so you want to open your digital menu. See right here it says Prefabricated SMS. You want to create this right here. Okay, now let me explain what this does. This is an identifier for the APRS texting or SMS system to let them know that you're trying to send a text. You need to have this at the beginning of every text. That's why I'm telling you you need to create this. It is Sierra Mike Sierra Golf Tango Echo, then a space, and then the @ symbol. Now when you go to send your text, you, after this, on the radio, not here, then you'll put a phone number here, then a space, and then whatever text that you want to send. So I recommend this to save you time, because it is a pain to have to use this keypad to type that SMS GTE at every time. So it'll save you a ton of time. With doing this quick text, you can add to the quick text. You can add to it with a different phone number every time. So that being said, let's go ahead and go over here and start looking. Let's start looking at the radio here. We're going to close out of that, and now we got my 578 highlighted here. So I know the contrast and conditions aren't great. I didn't feel like moving the mount on my camera, and that thing on the wall past the TV stand is not a crutch, it's a metal detector, just in case anybody's wondering. Anyway, so you've got everything set up, and then I've got my station set up for SMS text already. I'm going to go through my hotspot. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that I've got my text talk group selected. So we're going to select that, make sure that it's selected. Okay, now you got to do this with the repeater as well, but you need to do this for your hotspot and or repeater to make sure that it wakes it up, because you know, after 15 minutes most public repeaters drop that group, and the group's not going to be active before you go to use it. So once you've got that highlighted, go ahead and trigger your hotspot or your repeater. 2 seconds is all you need to turn that on. Now you're going to go menu, and on my 578, messages is the second option down. So we're going to highlight messages. And then here's the cool thing, the quick text. Now new message, when you highlight it, look, it's a blank screen in there. But if I go down to my quick text, there's my SMS GTE all ready for me. Now I can already right now choose my phone number. So hopefully, you know, I'm not even going to bother blocking it out because I don't care. I'm switching to this. So I'm going to type my phone number in, and I don't care if you see it, but I'm not going to sound it out phonetically in case some of you guys are blind. I don't need a stalker. So we've put the text in there. We're going to space, and then I'm going to just put SMS test. So here's SMS space TEST. Okay, and then I'm going to confirm that, and it's going to ask me to send, and it's going to ask me what talk group list do I want to send it from, and we're going to go down to text, select. Now what will happen is you'll get a message right away, okay, and then it shows one new message. Now if you heard that little tone, that was my phone right now receiving that text message. It was that fast. This is a text to show that the SMS GTE acknowledged the fact that you were trying to send a text. Now here's the cool thing. We're going to bring this up, and I've already adjusted the contrast, and okay, so I've already done one video, but I screwed it up, guys. But here you go. KC3QPJ-7 SMS test that I just got right now. Okay, now we're going to go back and hit, we're going to hit received. Alright, highlighted. We're going to send it and watch the radio in the background. Might not come up right away. Okay, let's go back. And it didn't work that time, isn't that something? It did not work that time. I got the acknowledgement on the text out, but so it's a little quirky. I don't know why it did what it did, but you know what? It worked the first time, and it might have read, since I didn't delete the old message, it might have read it the same way in the radio, and that might have been why it didn't do it. So let's try this. Let's try, I'm going to type in let's just say quirky. We'll try that and see if it sends it into the radio. I don't know why it didn't work that time, but it's worked pretty much problematic free since I started using it. But either way, okay, so here are some things you need to know, and this is one of the things that bothers me about it. This could be a network thing. I've used it 4 times already with not really any issues after I figured out how to use it properly. Okay, when you start texting a phone number, those texts are only good for that phone number for that time, and after the timeout period you can't use it anymore. Plus, if you try, in order to send a text to a different phone number, you have got to dial out of that conversation first before you try to go with the second phone number. Let me explain this real quick. We're going to show you real quick on the radio. Alright, you can see it still says SMS text. So I don't know how many guys have done this. I went to list. We're going to hit back. We're going to go down to manual dial, which is the third option on the menu here. We're going to select that, and guys, I know the contrast is absolutely awful, but then your manual dial is going to be 4000. Okay, then you're going to key down on 4000, and then you're going to listen in to let them know that you've disconnected.
Not linked.
Okay, you guys heard the not linked. That means it has disconnected from the unit, and there's my text message. it was a little late, but it got here. Maybe the system got busy, but let's see here. There's my quirky that I sent. Okay, so it came back in. Now that could be my hotspot. That could be a system issue, but guess what, guys? In the end, it came in a little slow. It was immediate out, slow in, but it came in. So that could be a network issue on my end. If you've got good internet, you got a good hotspot. And then wait a minute, another one just came in here. Let's view that. That was the received message, and if you think I'm yanking your chain, yeah, it just got slow. So there you go. So as I was trying to state to you before, if you want to text another number, make sure you dial out of that first. Just do the 4000. People do that on 91 worldwide when they want to leave that talk group or close it off the local repeater. You got to wait for that dead air. Type in 4000. You can even create a talk group on 4000 so you don't have to do the manual dial. So you can create that talk group and shut it down. So what that 4000 did for me was unlinked my hotspot from that, but it was still able to receive those last couple texts. And I think it's a hotspot issue with me. Maybe I should upgrade. I don't know. We'll have to see. However, pretty cool. You lose your phone. You're on a hike. You lose a phone. Guess what? If you've got a DMR radio that's capable of sending SMS, APRS, like the Anytone radios are, hey, you could text somebody, said, hey, text a family member if you're in range of a DMR repeater. Hey, I'm going to be late. I lost my phone. So if you can't reach me, don't worry. That kind of thing. Or, let's say you get lost and you have no cell phone service, but you have a repeater at a high elevation that you can hit. You can text them. These radios also are capable of transmitting GPS coordinates also. So if you're lost, people are having trouble finding you, hey, technology's come a long way. And as long as you can reach a repeater or have some kind of communication, you don't even need your cell phone. And that's the cool thing about it, that it'll work. But it's very important that you remember these steps so that when you go to use it, it will work for you. Other than that, right now, I think it's pretty cool novelty to just be able to impress the people that I know that are not hams, and they'll ask, who is this? And I say, it's Aaron, and I just did this for my ham radio. Are you getting ready to get your license yet? So it could pique some interest because people don't realize the different things that you can do with these radios. So I want to thank Bridgecom for their video, because that went a long way in helping me to be able to program my radio. And if you guys have any questions, any comments, anything of that nature to add to this video, or if you think somebody might get something out of it, share it, like it, subscribe to my channel. I'm a relatively new ham, and I think in another year I'm not going to be able to say that anymore, but this is my journey, and there are other hams out there that have known that this has existed for a while, but I didn't realize that this radio was actually capable of doing what it's doing. Until next time, this is KC3QPJ. I'm signing off. You all have a good evening, and thanks for watching the video. Have a good weekend. 7-3.